G'day, how are you today? You've tuned into the Body+Soul podcast, Extra Healthy-ish, the big sister podcast to Healthy-ish. I am Felicity Harley, and today we're talking Movember to shine a light on men's mental health. Dan Price is a Lululemon ambassador and official Movember Mo-Bro, and on a mission to raise awareness for this important cause. After his own mental health battles, he found a passion for running. It's what got him through. And on November 5th, he's aiming to run 205 kilometres through New South Wales's Barrington Tops in one stint. Now, I'm not sure if you've been there, but it's hilly and it can be treacherous in parts. It's actually 7,000 metres of vertical elevation. Now, climbing Everest from sea level actually has 8,800 metres of vertical elevation. So in this ep, he's obviously going to talk about that run, but he also talks about his life of mental health battles, setting goals, and how running has pulled him through. Dan, thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish. Now, how do you stay extra healthy-ish in your daily life?
Well, it's a big question because I do. There are a lot of things that I do to stay healthy. I guess I've got my staples, which is, I think I start my day with a check-in just to see how I've slept. So sleep is really important to me. And then before I touch my phone, so I've got a bit of a phone rule, no phone straight away in the morning.
I like that.
I do it. Yeah, it's so important because it's just like, otherwise you're straight into the, dopamine hits from
Yep.
technology, and I just don't think it's that good for our brains. So certainly became a bit of an addiction for me at one point. So I try and start my day really grounded, connected with myself, and I do a bit of breath work and meditation. And then I'll do a little bit of probably low intensity exercise initially, maybe some stretching, bit of yoga. Probably go for a run after that. But the other things I do throughout my day, I really focus on hydration. I focus on a really healthy diet. So I eat a lot of fruit and veggies, and everything that I eat is pretty much cooked fresh. I try not to eat any processed food. Like, that is tough. I've got young kids now, so it's not as good as it was before kids. I do eat the odd microwave meal, but I try and eat the better ones, but that's all okay. I just don't eat a lot of, I definitely don't eat fast food and processed food because I just know how terrible I feel afterwards. I think because I've got my body dialed in so much with the sport that I do, when I do really notice, like if I go and eat takeaway food, I would feel pretty rubbish and pretty lethargic. So it's interesting to see that. But yeah, look, there are a number of things I do. And also, I think a key one, which is something that my partner and I have started recently, is we have time set aside in the day. We try not to make it too late in the evening. Working from home has been a real gift here with this, is we try and have like a 10, 15 minute hold space for each other, have a chat, get some things off our chest, bounce ideas off each other. And you know how much stronger our relationship is because of it? It's incredible. It's like just a little, if we can share if we've been stepping on each other's toes, or we've just got a problem that we know is going to take a bit of conversation. So, you just don't want to ask it, when you're racing around the house or through the kitchen, like you want to sit down and give it some time. So that's another one that's been really amazing because I wasn't talking enough to my partner about what was going on for me, just not wanting to lump it on her. And so, yeah, doing that's been really great for my wellness and also our relationship. So I think that's a really cool one to suggest.
I think that's an awesome one.
If they're in a relationship.
I've actually never heard that one.
Maybe just a few times a week.
That's a great idea.
So,
Love it.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about running. You are running this, as my son said this morning when I walked him to school, this nuts distance, 205 kilometres. Tell us a bit about this run and, why this is important to you and your role at Movember.
Yeah, it is a really big goal. Look, firstly, obviously, I love running and challenging myself both physically and mentally. That's pretty obvious when you try and run 205 kilometres, which is, I think, about 5 marathons back to back.
Wow.
And also, and I'm doing that through the mountains, which makes it a lot more challenging. But the real reason why I do these big physical challenges is to bring awareness to men's mental health and suicide prevention in particular. Movember obviously also focus on prostate and testicular cancer, but my passion is really around suicide prevention. And these runs just allow me to, create a lot of noise and get people to look at what I'm doing. And then I get to tell the story about why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is fundamentally my why is I want to show people who are struggling and bring hope to people who are struggling that there is a lot of life to be lived on the other side of mental health crisis. I guess if you wanted to summarize it, I struggled a lot with depression and anxiety in my late 20s after going through a divorce, and my world imploded. I ended up trying to take my life and was very lucky to live through that experience.
So sorry.
Yeah. And, I just want to show people that, the statistics are shocking with suicide, but also suicide attempts and obviously people suffering major depression all around Australia and the globe. And I just want to show people that you can get through it. You can, there's a lot of help out there, and that there's so much life to be lived on the other side of that. 6 years ago, I was in a psych ward thinking my life was over. And 6 years later, I have an amazing fiance, 2 beautiful kids, a great job back in the corporate world, and all these other amazing things going on in my life. this community, working with Movember, coming on podcasts like this one, talking to the amazing Felicity Harley.
It's very kind.
This is just, it's beautiful what I have in my life today. But I also love to share that life isn't all roses either. I still have tough days like everyone else. I've had a few mental health dips in that 6 years, absolutely. So, there's a big story in behind it, and the run is just, at the end of the day, is actually one small part, although it's the biggest part for me in the physical sense, and all the training and everything that goes with that. I get to tell that story too of, not fearing failure. Putting yourself out there and dreaming big and setting big goals and chasing them, like training for even a marathon when you're a parent is hard, but training for an ultra marathon when you have a full-time job and 2 young kids, it's really hard to fit it in. But, with good time management and, not making too many sacrifices, like the running is third place to my family and my full-time job. It's third, and I need to make sure it doesn't become too much of a priority. But it allows me to, stay focused. Like I do need big goals to chase, I guess.
Gosh, what's after this?
Well, well, I think, my fiance Sarah is pretty keen for me to have a break, because I've done a few big runs back to back. I did triple marathon for Movember last year, and then I ran a 100k race in the Blue Mountains in May. So I haven't really stopped training.
Yes, right. I get it.
And my body's also screaming at me. I've got a few issues now that I need to practice what I preach and listen to my body. I'm a big believer in, if something's going on in your body is talking to you. Like your body is communicating with you, and mine is communicating with me in a big way right now to slow down. So I have pulled back on the training and reassessed my personal goals within the 205k.
Right.
I was trying to break the record for the route. I'm now kind of adamant to just get the thing done and run a bit slower, because I've had to pull back on my training and I've had some physio around an ankle issue. But that's also a beautiful part of the journey, is to show people that, you can adjust. I had a plan and had goals. Things aren't going perfectly to plan, which they won't always. And so I've adjusted the goals. Some great advice. It's amazing how many cool little stories come out of these projects that I've done in the last few years. But fundamentally, I just want to help stop men dying so young.
Stay with us. We will be back in just a moment. Talking about men's mental health, why do you think so many men hide their feelings, and how can they get better at being open and honest about it and sharing them?
I do really think it's a societal issue. The way that, men, certainly men that are in their 20s or older, I think things have started to shift in a really positive way in recent years. So I feel like our younger men, like my son, I feel has a much better chance of growing up in a world where men talk more openly about how they feel. But certainly when I grew up, that wasn't the case. And when my dad grew up, it absolutely wasn't the case, and my dad's, comes from farming stock. But I think regardless of where you grow up in the world, I think men are just seen as, the breadwinner, bravado, that toxic masculinity piece.
Yep.
And by that I say, they just feel like they have to fix everything on their own. Like I felt a lot of pressure in my life to fix all my problems on my own. And I don't really know why that is, because no one ever said to me, Dan, you have to fix all your problems on your
Yes.
own. It's like, it's kind of innate. Just it's there. It's, it's in storylines of movies and TV shows and sitcoms. Like if you watch for it, it's always there. And we do need to change that, and it is changing. So I just think men have never had the opportunity to learn those skills, and they've never been told that it's okay to struggle. And when you do struggle, that's when you need to share that struggle with someone else, so you can get through it together. A problem shared is a problem halved, and we're not meant to fix our struggles on our own. Like fundamentally as humans, that's what I believe anyway. We're all about connection. We came, not that many years ago, we were living in tribes and everyone shared everything. So I don't know where along the line that changed, but I just think that men just need to understand that to be better humans and healthier humans for ourselves and everyone else in our lives, communicating openly and sharing vulnerably is a really big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talked about I really love this. You talk about changing the culture around going for a beer to going for a coffee and watching the sunrise, or maybe going for a run. I love this. Talk to me about this, and what are some other coping mechanisms that have helped you keep your mental health healthy, aside from running, that is?
Sure. Yeah, I obviously grew up socializing with my mates either on the sporting field or at the pub over a beer. And although those two things are great, I felt, and a lot of my mates have felt the same, is, it's not always healthy. And obviously alcohol isn't great for us and our health, generally speaking. I'm not against drinking, although I don't drink myself anymore for my health. I just, catching up with your mate in the morning it's just so healthy. I feel like when you're at the pub drinking a few beers and the footy's on the telly, you don't really talk about the real life stuff and the substantial things that are going on in your life. And that seems to shift without those distractions of the pub and the footy. When you're just going for a walk on the beach, or a light jog with your mate in the morning, or even cycling. It's interesting. And there has been studies and research that shows, those side by side connections. So especially when men are walking, running or cycling, tends to be an opportunity to open up and be a bit more vulnerable, because that face-to-face contact can feel a little bit intense, especially for men. So that side-by-side thing seems to work really well. And it's certainly showing in my friendship groups. Like I hear a lot of my mates say that they have really great chats, catching up with their mates in the morning for a coffee. We're just trying to do more of that and less of the drinking at the pub. I'm not saying that that's not, part of our culture and healthy in some way too, obviously, like letting your hair down, having a few beers. There's no problem with that as long as you're also connecting on a deeper level as well, and not having 25 beers.
Yeah, that's great advice. And, it can be just a simple walk, right, around your neighbourbood for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be, as you say, going for a coffee or a sunrise. It can be easy. Now, lastly, how do you, aside from the run, how do you stay motivated and push your men's mental health message outside of the Movember period?
Yeah, Movember and, the mental health and suicide prevention conversation is 365 days a year for me. I love that there are, particular days that we celebrate and talk about these topics and months that we do so. But for me, yeah, it is all the time because it has to be. And I really do anything and everything. I do a lot of talks in the corporate world and in schools to get the message out there. Not as much these days, just because I've got my hands full with 2 kids.
Yeah.
But that was my full-time gig for a couple of years. I left the corporate world to do that. That was a real passion project of mine to be of service to the community and really pour my heart and soul into it after losing a friend to suicide in 2016 it was. That really prompted me. I'd already shared my story around my mental health journey, but it really prompted me to take that next step. And I just staying motivated outside of running. I think my kids are a big motivator for me. I do want to be a really good role model for them and emulate the best version of myself I can every day, and learn and grow from my mistakes all the time. I'm always sort of checking in on myself to see where I could be a better human. And a big part of that is just getting out in the community and encouraging people to be healthy and and for men to share more vulnerably, I guess.
Yeah, great advice, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish, and good luck with your run.
Yeah, thanks, Felicity. It's really been great chatting to you. Thanks for having me.
Dan had some great advice for all of us, I think, not just men, but women as well, to get the men around us to open up more about our feelings. And I love that idea of just going for a side-by-side walk. Thanks again for listening to this chat. If this raised any issues for you, or if you're concerned about anyone else's mental health around you, please call Lifeline 131114. If you'd like to give some money to Dan to support his run, make sure you check out his Movember page. I will leave links to that in the show notes. If you want more from us, we have got Extra Healthy-ish other episodes out there. We launch this podcast every morning, Monday to Thursday. Make sure you log on to bodyandsoul.com or join us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks again for listening in. And if you have a moment, we'd be so grateful if you could rate, review and subscribe to this podcast. And until tomorrow, stay extra healthy-ish.